Good morning, good morning, good morning. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and you are breathing. Today is Tuesday, June the 25th, 2024, and I would like to welcome you all to This is Just a Thought with Stephen Corner-Gay. Hope everyone is enjoying their Tuesday, the beginning of the week of some sorts. We're a day late, but it's still the beginning of the week. You haven't made it to that halfway point. Man, before I go any further, I would like for you all to hit that like and subscribe button along with that bell icon to get notified when I drop these podcasts. Keep you in the loop. Wait for you guys to miss out on some of these interesting and well thought out topics we will be discussing. It's always a good time here. This is Just a Thought. And as always, hey, get in that comment section. Let me know what you guys think, whether yay or nay. Should I continue? Should I stop? Should I move on to something else? Whatever the case may be, like I always say, I am pretty thick-skinned. I won't bite. At least not physically. Verbally, I may, but we're all adults. We can surely agree to disagree without getting downright indignant and belligerent. Just can't. So hit that like and subscribe button along with that bell icon for me, please. All right, today's word of the day, gritty, which means showing courage and determination, gritty. Like I said earlier, I hope everyone's enjoying this work week starting now. If you are like many of us and you survived this past weekend here in North Carolina, well, throughout the United States, from coast to coast, top to bottom, whew, man, I got to say, the heat, coast to coast, top to bottom, this here, baby. The United States has got an official heat wave going on. With temps here in North Carolina, it was in the high 90s, but the real feel, of course, was well over 100 in some spots. Man, it's cooking everywhere from New York down to Texas, from California all the way up to Maine. It does not matter. The heat is here. It is the summertime. It is the summertime. A lot of you folks have been asking for it, pleading for it. You're saying the weather was too cold. Well, you get what you ask for. Because this heat, it ain't playing no games with you, baby. It ain't playing no games whatsoever. I went out Saturday evening. I said to myself, well, self, it's about 5:30, 6 o'clock. Surely the temperature has came down some. That sucker was boiling. It wasn't scorching. It was boiling when I went out there about 5:30 or 6 o'clock and just sitting in the car and started to sweat. Sweat like nobody's business, like someone was throwing water on me. That's how hot it is, how humid it is here in this part of North Carolina and throughout the United States. I got to be honest with you. Throughout the United States, it is hot. So much so here tomorrow in North Carolina, the temperature is going to be flat out 100 with a real feel of 105, if not more. Wow. This has got, they said last year was a record-breaking moment for the heat. Looks like we're starting the summer out the same way. Look like it's going to continue. Might be 2 years in a row we get record-breaking heat because these days it don't seem like it's going to slack off no time soon. At least not until I believe they're saying next Sunday or Sunday we're supposed to get some rain, and Monday we may get a little relief with temperatures in the upper 80s going towards 90. I'll take that. Yes, I will. I will take that. Give me those 80-degree days and rain. I will take it in comparison to what we are dealing with now. Now, here, well, throughout most of the United States, it's the official beginning of summer was, of course, last Thursday, I believe, or Wednesday or Thursday, last Thursday, the 20th. So, of course, with most times or quite often here in the United States. When the weather starts to break, of course, we most likely think of heat, but folks in Iowa, I believe, Idaho, around that area, they're experiencing some severe flooding. Apparently, there's a dam that's getting ready to burst. It's coming from a spring, a lake, snow. It's got to be from all that snow. If you know that part of the country, this happens every year. It just does. And it's the direct result of all that snow that has melted. Snow got to go somewhere. Can't stay frozen forever. Snow turns to water when it's heated up. So they're going through it out there in Idaho or Iowa. I believe it's Idaho. Might be both, if I'm not mistaken. Might be both Idaho or Iowa. They're going through it with the flooding, and here the rest of the United States, it's the heat. Boy, that heat, man. Heed the warnings, heed the advisories about the sunscreen, the hydrating. Hydrating is the most. Stay hydrated, because I tell you, when I was sitting in that car and that sweat started to roll, I could tell. I said, man, I need some water. Just that quick. It doesn't take a long time for you to start experiencing heat exhaustion. It takes a little while longer. You have to be more exposed to the heat stroke element, but that heat exhaustion already. And this was last week. This was before the summer even hit. Hospitals across the United States were reporting they were seeing an uptick in people coming in with complications from heat exhaustion. So if you want to be out there in that heat and you can't limit your time out there in that heat, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Sunscreen. Put something on your head also. Keep that core, which is your head, your skull, your dome. I would say keep it cool. Good luck with that, even with a hat on, but at least have some sort of protection. And that sunscreen, they say the highest, whatever it is, SPF or whatever, however you word it or term it, that's the one you need to have on, especially if you're going to be out there, like those guys that work out there in the heat and are exposed. So hydrate, 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 sunscreen, limit your time outside, put something on your dome, and also wear light, loose-fitting clothes also. You don't want to get stuck out there in black. Draws heat. So wear light, loose-fitting clothes also, along with that hydration and sunscreen, and putting something on your dome and limiting your time outside. Wow, this heat, if this is the prelude to what is coming, sweet baby Jesus, help us all. Limit your time outside, folks. Check in on those elderly folks also. Like I told you guys before, we all know the elderly, they don't do the AC like that, so they'll have that fan on, that box fan on, or if they even have that box fan on, because they say that affects or messes with their joints. Check in on your elderly neighbors, parents, family members, friends, whatever, what have you. Check in on them. Stop by if you can and see what's going on with them. Because one thing that came out, and I may have mentioned this in a previous podcast, I really didn't know. And apparently a lot of us don't know that heat-related illnesses is the number one cause of death as far as the weather goes in the United States. It's the number one weather-related death in the United States. Of course, you know me, I'm thinking hurricanes, tornadoes, maybe flooding, severe storm, snowstorms or winter storms when the power goes out, temperatures drop, folks freeze to death or whatever. I had no idea it was the heat. So apparently the heat is the number one killer for weather-related deaths here in the United States. Okay, possibly could be out throughout the world. Who knows? Wow. Just a little something to keep in mind. Blew my mind when I heard it. I said, wow, I never would have known. I thought it was hurricanes, tornadoes, or flooding, or severe thunderstorms, lightning. We've heard people passing away from lightning also. I just never fathomed the notion that it was the heat. Then again, it makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Think about it. Summertime folks go outside. Just do. Hey, have you guys also, speaking of weather and the heat, I don't know if how many of you guys have heard about, this rash of drownings at the beach. Folks getting caught up in those rip currents. And what they're saying also, because there has been one or two cases of people going out to try to rescue those folks that are stuck out there in the water, caught up in that rip current. And they're saying this year it could quite possibly be, I won't say a record, but this quite possibly could be, with the cases they've had thus far, this could be a high number of deaths from people trying to rescue those that are being pulled out to sea also. So we got the heat, and now we have this with these rip currents and also these shark attacks. That's up too. I talked to you guys some time ago about those shark attacks. I made the little pun or made the little statement about never seeing a shark at a stop sign. So why are you out there in that water? But yeah, this could quite possibly be record breaking also for those folks that are going out there trying to save someone that has been pulled out to sea by a rip current. Of course, you know that they say, hey, when you're caught in a rip current, try your best to swim parallel to the shore. Find your mark, find the shore, and try to swim parallel to the shore. Folks will panic. It's understandable. I probably would also. So they panic and they say just keep a calm, cool, level head and try to swim parallel to the shore. It's going to pull you out. Don't panic. Don't freak out. Try to keep calm. This quite possibly could be the summer of just what would be or should be a pleasant season. Quite possibly could not be. Like I said, between the heat, those rip currents, folks dying, even those that are trying to save, because there was a husband and wife down in Florida last week. They passed. They were trying to save their kids. The kids made it back to shore. They didn't. This could be a summer of that also. Between the heat, the rip currents, the shark attacks, and even the little old flooding out there in the upper Midwest. And we haven't even gotten into hurricane season. It's ramping up. There's been a couple of tropical named storms down in the Gulf. We really haven't gotten into that part of the summer where there are severe thunderstorms, thunder and lightning storms. Summer's just getting started. Man, wow. I just hope and pray this gets better. All right, that's enough of me talking about the weather. Man, I almost talked you guys' head off about that weather. Hey, I woke up this morning and I don't know if you guys have heard, the United States Surgeon General has made a proclamation of sorts, if I could say. He said that based off of the data that he has collected, that gun violence in this country is the number one killer. It was another number one killer, a number one killer of our youth here in the United States. Gun violence is the number one killer of youth here in the United States. And he has said that he strongly urged, and he's calling it, he has issued a state of emergency. Wow. Surgeon General. Stands to reason, folks. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Seems like, if not every day, every other day, we're hearing about gun violence in our youth. So he's saying it should be a state of emergency. More should be done. More funding. More money needs to be allocated to help with mental health is one thing they pulled out. Said, hey, a lot of that, the trauma that comes from our youth seeing all this gun violence here in this country, it is traumatic and they need counseling. They need mental health. So the gun violence has spurred a call for mental health funding also to help with our youth and the trauma that they're seeing. Just like I always say, and I always tell my kids this, your actions, because he brought this up also, he says, hey, the kids are seeing this. They may not be directly involved in it, but they are affected by it. Like I always tell my kids, and like you probably tell your kids, and like you were told, just like me as a child, your actions just don't affect you. They affect any and everyone around you, whether they know you directly or indirectly. So he said, hey, that's where that mental health, the need for mental health counseling comes in, because these kids are seeing way too much with gun violence. Yeah, they are. They are. They really are. Think about it, folks. It ain't no quagmire. They are, and they are being mentally scarred by that. They just are. They just are. All right, let's move along here. Also, hey man, la ti da. It's about that time, folks. The presidential debate is Thursday. This Thursday coming up. Um, as far as I can tell, from what I've seen thus far, it's going to be an old-fashioned, regular three-ring circus, folks. It just is. Why, you ask? Because it's already started. Former President Donald Trump, why would he stop? This is what he does. Uh, Former President Trump has started the ball rolling by critiquing the preparation work of Joe Biden and his team. Now he's calling. Earlier this morning I heard he's calling and he's calling for President Biden to be drug tested. Says President Biden, Joey Boy Biden needs to be drug tested. And he's citing that he is possibly using vitamins and supplements to get him up to speed as it comes to debating. I, is he saying that? Whether they're saying vitamins and supplements. Now, the supplements I get, because there are some supplements that folks use. I'm not saying that he's using it. This is something Trump is doing here, folks. So get yourself all in a titsy about it. By now, you should be used to know that this is what former President Trump does. Any old thing, he'll pull it out the last minute. Now, like I said, I don't know about the vitamins, but I do know about there are some supplements that can enhance from what you're not. So I really don't think this is a problem. I think this is just former President Donald Trump doing what he does best, which is incite and irritate and infuriate folks. This is just what he does. All this browbeating and taking cheap shots, as far as I can tell, and many people are saying, many of those that are these political analysis, which I really didn't need them to say it. I already figured it out. I've been following this campaign for campaign to get reelected and campaign to be the new president. I've been following it for years now. It seems like, because what the political analysis are saying, hey, they're going to horn in and focus the Biden administration. They're going to be talking about, of course, women's right to choose, the abortion rights, and of course their health care after, of course, Roe v. Wade was overturned. I mean, you've seen the commercials. I know you have. I have. It's a constant reminder. So that's what President Biden and his team is going to be focused in on. Women's right to choose and their medical care also. So that's what it's come down to in this country. And I'm not slighting it. I'm just not. But it appears that's the hot topic now, the abortion rights debate. Well, I mean, that is what it is, because what they're saying, hey, their country's doing fairly well. The economy's coming back. Jobs are being created. The future is bright. Besides this smear with women's right to choose. Okay. If that's what you guys want to horn in on and focus, it is what it is. Now, like I said numerous times, I have no dog in that fight. I have no skin in the game. I have no chicken in the pot. It is none of my business what any human being on this earth does, as long as it does not affect me. Me personally, I just think the government is just, you guys are in folks' business way too much. But it's not what many people scream. For me personally, I look, sit back and watch and observe. It's not a moral issue about a woman's right to choose if she wants to abort her unborn child or not. It's not a moral issue for me. It's just not. I understand the argument. And I think that moral issue comes in, and that's the more or less to galvanize those that are in opposition to abortion. It's really not a moral issue for me. It's the way I see it and the way I believe it wholeheartedly after looking and listening and reading between the lines. It's more or less has to do with these insurance companies and whether or not they want to pay for those abortions, whether they want to pay for that in vitro fertilization, whether or not they want to pay for women's reproductive needs and wants. It just is. There was a study some years ago right before this started popping up, and say they had came up with this report where they list the costs for each of these procedures and preventative health care, and insurance companies were saying, oh no, that's way too much. That's the problem. It's not a moral issue here, folks. You guys got your panties all in a bunch talking about the morality and the biblical importance and hellfire and brimstone. Insurance companies just don't want to pay for it. That's all it is. I told you guys need to start watching that news a little bit more. Need to start reading between the lines. Stop relying on these politicians to tell you what's what. It's not a moral issue. It's like most things in this world, in this country, it all comes down to money. Insurance companies don't want to pay for this mess. Dang, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. If you don't believe me, research. What do I know? What do I know? Hey, man, have you guys heard this story coming out of Atlanta? A judge was arrested this past weekend. She was arrested for assaulting an officer. Where was she arrested, you say? Well, she was arrested at a nightclub. Why, Your Honor? Why in the world are you? You're a judge. I know you're going to say, hey, this is a different day and age, a different time, but you're a judge. Why the hell are you at a nightclub? Of all places. Now, apparently there was a scuffle, and her team says that this is taking it way too far. She really didn't need to be arrested. She was trying to come to an aid of a young lady that was being assaulted or getting ready to be assaulted by a man. So she jumped in and tried to intervene, and things got out of hand. Your Honor, once again, why are you at a nightclub? Don't judges go to these little fancy smancy what do you call those golf clubs that have these little bars and rooms there? They don't go to a regular nightclub, do they? Now, she's 38 years of age. She's a probate judge in Atlanta. Effective today, she was removed from the bench, or she's expected to be removed from the bench. The Georgia Supreme Court rule came after a Judicial Qualifications Commission found her guilty of systemic incompetence. She had some more charges out there they were dealing with. And then this pops up. Hell yeah, you got to go, lady. You're bad for business. Now, one of the charges she had before this, it had something to do with it was a misconduct case in which the court said they were troubled by Peterson's decision to jail a naturalized U.S. citizen who was born in Thailand after the woman sought to amend her marriage license with the name of her real father. So she wanted to make a correction to the marriage license. Apparently, she realized her mistake, so she wanted to make an amendment to it and put her father's real name in there for whatever reason. It could have been a slight oversight on her half, or it could have been something that she found out down the line. But apparently, they're saying this may have been just she may have not understood what was being asked of her. So she wanted to make an amendment. She wanted to make an amendment to her marriage license by simply just putting her father's name correctly on the marriage license. But the judge ruled that the woman was trying to defraud the court and sentenced her to a maximum of 20 days in jail, which could be reduced to 2 days if the woman paid a $500 fine and served the 2 days. So the woman paid the $500 fine and was released after 2 days. Boy, this judge, what in the world? Their panel came out, after they reviewed the case, and they found out the finding was that the woman was in good faith trying to correct what appeared to be an innocent mistake on her behalf. And it was just out of a honest mistake and not ignorance. They're saying the judge may have went too far. I don't know about that particular case, but I think she went too far last week, latter part of last week, when she put her hands on that officer. Yes, she shoved that officer 2 times. There is, by the way, body cam footage. We don't really know what happens. They got the body cam footage. We don't know what happened before that. But Yana, you were way out of order. You were out of line. You were a judge. How many times do you sit up there on that bench and tell regular citizens in Georgia or the town or wherever you're at to keep control of their emotions and their feelings and be aware of your surroundings so you don't get yourself caught up in situations like this, and then you turn around and do the exact same thing. So they're saying they're going to remove her as of today sometime. They're going to remove her from the bench, and she's not going to be able to be a judge for a minimum of 7 years before they come up before the judicial review. So she's she can still practice law because she's a lawyer, but she just can't rule. She can't be a judge for 7 years minimum. Doesn't say if she's going to get a lifetime ban or not. Wow, I don't know. I know. I think there's a certain level of ethics and a code that goes along with being a judge that you're not supposed to end up in the back of a police car and brought down to the jail to be booked, fingerprinted, and photographed and placed in a cell and have to bond out. There's a standard. I don't care what the situation is. The police officer was working off duty, getting some hours, so you couldn't find that police officer. You were at a club. How many times have we gone? I haven't been in a while. I'm not a club guy like that, but there's always some security or police officers there. If you saw things escalating, I would think you could get their attention, or they may have heard it, as opposed to, I get you wanted to help the young lady out and de-escalate the situation between her and that gentleman, but you end up getting into it with the police officers, shoving that guy into the chest 2 times. Maybe he warranted it. Maybe he deserved it. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Your Honor. Good Lord, Your Honor. Why, what in the entire world is going on with you? Wow. Just wow. Can't say I saw that coming. That's blows my mind. Just does. Thought there was a different level of some kind of type of code of patience and calmness and holding up the bench as a judge. Apparently not. Apparently everyone, whether you're in a position or station in life, whether you're supposed to be the standard bearer or you're supposed to dispense judicial prowess or understanding, guess that goes out the window when your own emotions and feelings are involved. What do you know? What do you know? I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to skedaddle. I'm going to make this a short one here. I will be back later on this week. Trust me. I promise. You can hold me to it because we're coming up on, this is the last week of Men's Health Month. And you know, that's my thing. That's my Jimmy. That's my stick. Men's Health Month. This is June. This is the last week. So we got to have some more interesting topics. And we got to talk about how we as men, we need to take care of ourselves more and more each and every day. So I'll be back later on this week to talk about some issues. We're going to be talking about cardiovascular disease for one, talking about strokes, heart attacks. But we already talked about blood pressure. So why not continue to trend? Why not continue to trend? By the way, and I found this very interesting. Of course, this is Men's Health Month, but also there's also an observance in June for women's health with the cardiovascular disease, also by the American Cancer Society. And one thing they're saying is the numbers for women and heart attacks are having cardiovascular disease because it does encompass a lot. Not just necessarily having a heart attack, can have cardiovascular disease. That's when your arteries or whatever, what have you, or the veins around your heart harden. So what they're saying is for women, though that number has risen drastically, the number is greater than men. They're saying they're finding and diagnosing more women with cardiovascular disease. Wow. Why, what in the world? It's like I told you guys with that the cancer for colon cancer, that number has gone up for women also. So apparently it's also going up for women with cardiovascular disease. So we'll be talking about that as it relates to men. I just wanted to put that out there for the ladies that may be listening. Hey, keep a good close eye on your health. We all should, whether male or female, young or old, black or white. It doesn't matter. We should all be watching our health ourselves. Of course, checking in with that doctor regularly, routine doctor's visits. We just should. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going and skedaddle. And as always, I want to thank you all for lending me your ears this morning. Continue to like, support, share, offer feedback, get in that comment section. Let me know what you guys think about what's going on. I guess what's getting ready to happen with this presidential debate. And former President Trump has already chimed in. He's already started. He want to give this guy a drug test to see if he's taking some performance enhancing drugs and vitamins. Wow. Where did he pull that one from? Because I didn't see that coming. Now, I guess he's throwing shade towards President Joe Biden, because President Biden, if you ever heard him speak sometime, he does kind of stumble and he forgets where he's at. And if you've seen him at some of these events here as of late, he looked like he was out of it. So that's quite possibly the reason why President Trump says, hey, drug test. Wow. President Trump won't stop. So let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know what you think about this judge down here in Georgia. Man, was she justified? Was she right? Did the police overreact? I don't think so. Unless there's something more that we haven't heard or seen. Like I said, alluded to, I know she's a human being, but she's a judge. There is a high standard as it relates to when you get to that level. You're supposed to stand up and adhere to. And why were you at a regular club in Atlanta? I mean, maybe that club was upscale. Maybe that's a happening spot for judges and lawyers. I don't know. So let me know what you guys think about that. Hey, let me also know what you guys think about that heat. Ooh, the heat. Wow. I'm certainly, if it comes, I'm looking forward to that rain Sunday. I am. Cool it off a little bit. Man, this heat is unbearable. It is oppressive. So protect yourself out there, guys. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Sunscreen, loose, light colored clothes. Put something on that dome piece also, man. Put something on it. Go find you one of those old bucket hats. You know, old bucket hats, big wide brim bucket hats, or the little fisherman hat, or the big straw hat. Go find you something to cover that dome piece. Trust me. Your dome gets hot. I know. I got caught slipping a few times out there. I was like, oh my, what was I thinking? So hydrate, hydrate, sunscreen, limit your time outside, wear the correct clothing, and just enjoy the summer if you can. If you got to be out there, that's how you make your living, how you make your money. Take care of yourself first. Keep an eye on yourself. And if you work with a group of guys or girls and y'all out, keep an eye on each other also. Ain't no need to be a macho. Ain't no need to be macho. Yeah, nobody wants to pick you or try to pick you up off the ground. Sorry, that was a little blunt. But hey, that's what could happen with that machismo crap when you trying to tough it out. Hey, he ain't nothing to play with once it gets you. So yeah, hey, get in that comment section. Let me know what you guys think about the topics today that I talked about. Whether yeah or nay, I'm pretty thick skinned. I won't bite. I won't bite. It does not offend me. It's your opinion, and you are entitled to it. Hey, and as always, I want to thank you all for listening to This Is Just a Thought with Stephen Corner Gay. Amen.